Guys, we're going to be talking to LeeAnn Fox, a self-proclaimed Jerry Springer story turned to girl boss ninja. Guys, I'm really excited today. I'm bringing you Miss LeeAnn Fox. Here's her quick bio. So she is a retired Navy veteran. We won't hold the Navy against her too much. Turned girl boss ninja coach. I just love that. During her 18-year career, she served, wait a minute, 18 and not 20. We're going to have to talk about that. During her 18-year career, she served aboard 2 warships, spent the majority of her shore duty on foreign soil in Japan and Spain. She started her career as a diesel mechanic, but converted to a law enforcement field after her first enlistment. She served in military law enforcement, but spent most of that time serving in the capacity of anti-terrorism officer, developing and conducting an anti-terrorism training. Although she began her military career with a GED, she earned a Bachelor's Degree in Emergency Management with a minor in Homeland Security. Holy shit, this is a lot to read. You know what? Screw all that. Why don't you just tell me what the hell this says versus trying to – because I got like 3 more paragraphs of this bio to read. So LeeAnn, just cut all of this. Tell me what the hell this bio says.
Yeah, so I know it's kind of long, but, I mean, that's kind of part of, my business now is, I've done so many things and, much of it, might have been not the right thing to be doing, or I thought it was going in one direction and then, life happens and it took me in a different direction. But yeah, I started off as a diesel mechanic. I'm a high school dropout, got knocked up at 17, did all the things wrong that I should be in jail or, knocked up again by now. But, I joined the military and started out, like every kid, they just give you, oh yeah, they make Ingemin sound really fancy and exciting. And yeah, that's not how it turned out. And so after 6 years, I converted over into the law. So from there, I, like I said, did the law enforcement thing. And then 9/11 happened. So it became more and more about anti-terrorism and all that. And ended with a military medical retirement. I had some conditions, my medications, I couldn't qualify on a weapon anymore. I mean, I can qualify, but not per standard. So they were like, see ya, put me out. And then from there, it kind of.
So that's why you did 18 years.
Correct. They drugged me up and put me out the front door. And so that first year out, I went through what most veterans go through, that transition struggle. And for me, it was really hard. I couldn't find a job. I was still medicated from the stuff they had given me while I was in, trying to raise 2 kids. I just purchased a home before I knew they were putting out all this stuff. And so I was literally about ready to pack everything and put it in my expedition, and that's where me and my kids were going to live.
Wow.
So, of course, like most vets, I thought that was like, I'm jacked up. I did this 18-year career. I was like top of the top. Now what the heck? I'm like about to live in my car, because I can't take care of myself. And so the awakening came when I got hired with the Texas Veterans Commission, which is quite funny. I was unemployed for a year, couldn't get anyone to even call me back. And then I got hired to be an employment specialist. So, yeah, I'm like, okay.
Well, that's typical military for you.
Yeah, whatever doesn't make sense, let's do it.
Right.
But for me, I've always had a passion for just, I strive to find, I'm just hungry for knowledge. I'm just always trying to learn different things. And so now I had this platform where people were teaching me this, how to be a civilian thing and how to do this job thing. And I just jumped right into it, became a supervisor in like 8 months, and then started building this community around me, helping veterans here. And most importantly, learning the the job game, like how to get a job, that whole thing. And so, from there, I left that job, couldn't, back to the struggles of no money, whatever. And so from there, funniest thing though, here I have this degree, I know how to do all this stuff, and I still wasn't being able to find a job that people, one, that would hire me, but 2, that I could do, with my medical conditions and still, be able to pay the mortgage. And so one day I was playing on Pinterest of all places and came across an article, and that just got the wheels turning. And from there it went into a business, into a blog, into a second blog I launched a month later. Within 6 months I had launched an online teaching platform, and now I am about to launch a membership site. And all of that's really happened in like the last 15 months. I always tell everybody, hey, yeah, I can work on your car. I can totally protect you from terrorists. But what I'd really rather do is sit home with my dogs and type on the computer all day. So,
hence the dogs being in the background now. So we're just going to enjoy them for the ride.
Yeah, I don't have toddlers. I have 2 big Dobermen who think they're toddlers.
Well, that's funny. As my wife and I don't have kids, we have what she calls fur babies. So we're right there with you, right? So. All right, so let me replay some of that. So you get out of the military after an 18-year career, 2 years shy of retiring, which for anybody who doesn't understand that is, for a lot of people that 20-year stunt is, you're financially paid for the rest of your life if you hit those 20 years, which is a huge cushion beneficial factor as you start the rest of your life. Yeah. So you're dealing with that trauma of missing the mark by 2 years because you're forced out, not by choice. You have how many kids at this point?
I had 2, elementary and junior high aged at the time.
Yeah, 2 kids at this point, no income really coming in per se, and having to figure out how to support everybody, and you're about to move everything into an expedition. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's where your choice is to live. And you're like, holy shit, now what? How do you handle that mentally? I mean, how do you find it within yourself to go, okay, I got this?
During that first year, I was still medicated. I was on so many medications that the military put me on. And so I detoxed myself off of everything. And as that stuff started getting out of my system, I started getting a little more clarity. And, it really dawned on me that what the hell am I doing? This is not what I have a young daughter, but my son as well. I don't want this to be the legacy that I leave to them. And, I survived the military for Christ's sake,
Right.
And during a wartime. And so I don't know, church, I'm very connected to my church, which I didn't used to be. I actually got connected after the military. Even though I grew up Southern Baptist, I pushed it all away. But once I got back to that, and just really putting my big girl panties on and saying, you know what, this isn't I think it was once you get out of the part of feeling sorry for yourself, when you start feeling sorry for yourself and start giving into that negative thing, it just takes over because that's your focus. Oh, woe is me. And when you just give 1 ounce to the, okay, enough of this, then it sparks this cycle that totally takes over and doesn't give any room for the negative stuff. And at least for me, that's how it was. And so the more I accomplished something, even if it was something little, it gave me the drive, well, okay, I did that, I can do this too. Because up until that point during that year, I had sucked at everything. I failed miserably, but it wasn't really my fault. And I thought it was. I thought there was something wrong with me. So it was just really getting my head out of my butt and saying, what the heck are you doing? You can do this, and now this is what you need to do. And once I started thinking in that kind of mentality, it's like, okay, get out of my way because I'm coming through.
Which I always tell everybody. It's kind of like looking at life and say, hold my beer and watch this because this is about to get real, right? Right.
Exactly.
Now, that's awesome. So you go from there to one day perusing through Pinterest. And you find an article that allows you to start blogging, right?
Well, the article was actually about making money with Pinterest. So I'm like, ooh, some way to make money. I thought Pinterest was just for, what I'm going to decorate my Christmas tree with this year. And so, because that's all I had ever searched for.
Well,
I
it makes you feel better.
On there.
Now there's all this crafty shit around my farm and everything else because if you need to figure out something, if you don't YouTube it, you go to Pinterest to find somebody who's done it, right? So.
Exactly. Pinterest is amazing. You can find anything on there. Anything you search on Google, you can find a better idea on Pinterest.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I found this article. I was like, whoa, what's this? I started researching it, and I was like, holy crap, could actually work. It didn't seem like a scam or anything. So I started doing it, started making a little money, really started seeing other people that were doing it, and that's what their businesses were based around. So part of my first endeavor was doing that for myself with an online teaching platform, but doing it different than what others were doing. And, that created a community. Then from there, the blogging came into play. I started My Veteran Woman Life, which was actually an effort to do what I did for Texas Veterans Commission, because I still wanted to help veterans, with employment, but do it on a global scale through the blog instead of for the state. When you work for the state, you have all sorts of rules that make no sense. And so now I could say I was like a free agent. Nobody could really tell me what to do.
Right.
And from there, it turned into more women focused, which is how Girl Bosses Rock got launched. And then that one has just really taken off, and that's pretty much the direction that everything is focused towards right now.
So talk to me about that, girl boss. I mean, because that's a cool phrase that gets thrown around a lot. And I have a lot of cool friends that are really embracing the hell out of this, and there's a real cool movement going on right now about this whole girl boss thing. So talk to me a little bit about your blog. What are you doing inside of that? I mean, what are you telling people?
So the basis of it, it's kind of a faith-based approach to bringing women, and traditionally the girl boss, like hashtag and all that, you see that with like the diva women, a lot of the drama, or women in highly successful business, they're a girl boss. But for me, it was more saying, hey, we all have that girl boss in us. Even the woman living at the women's shelter, because I do a lot of work with the women's shelter and things like that. And so it's really teaching them to find their inner girl boss. And that's where that whole girl boss ninja coach, where'd you get the ninja from? It's like, well, women are ninjas. We do everything before half the men in the country wake up. Did you see that? Exactly. Right? Like, so we're ninjas. So it's like girl boss ninjas. So I say I'm a coach teaching these women who think they are nothing because of the past mistakes and the past failures, all of which because I left a whole lot out of that bio. I mean, you watch Jerry Springer, that show hasn't got anything on my background. So I'm not kidding. That's a whole other episode.
Do you by chance have video footage? Because I'd love to see some of that. No.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it was pre-internet days.
Thank God. I think a lot of us are glad that we grew up in the generation that didn't have all this technology.
Yeah, tear the picture up, it's gone.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. There's a lot of things I'm glad are not out there.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. But yeah, so it's just really focused at a faith-based approach of, and it's not like Jesus in your face, because my thing is like, I want to kind of sneak it in so that while you're there, if you pick up on it, great. But if not, you're going to take away something else from it. And so it's not like Jesus all over it where people might be intimidated or hesitant to want to investigate it, And so the branding of it's very specific, but it's a place for women. It's not for super successful women. It's women who think they are nothing, or are really trying to learn and just truly don't have the money to invest in all these fancy, expensive coaching packages and things like that. Because I think the people that really need those services, they can't possibly afford them. And so a lot of women are, given a disservice simply because they don't have the money, and they could turn out to be really, really productive people in society if they were just given the opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I think a lot of people are focused on, helping the people that are struggling with that kind of lifestyle and everything else. They're really focused on how do you get a job or how do you this. They're not really focused on, getting them right in their head and dealing with their gremlins, which I talk about a lot in my stuff. Is, it's a beautiful thing because, as you say, everybody can be a girl boss. I think everybody can unleash their inner badass. It's the same thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, well, dance it. Your turn now.
And that's just it, I mean, there's women that I've met that I just see it in them that they talk about this or that, but they talk about it in a very hesitant way. And I'm like, keep talking, girl. Do you know you could totally make money with this thing that you're doing? And they're like, oh, no, not me. And I used to think that. I mean, even during my military time, it's like, oh, yeah, I was in the military, but look how that turned out. And I doubted my worth, not my self-esteem wise, but just what I can contribute to the world, I guess. And so, I do work with a lot of women who, I guess the word is disadvantaged women, single moms, women coming out of domestic violence, things like that, which I've all had that in my own background at some point. And so being able to empathize with them truly on a personal level. I'm not just some person who's like, oh, I'm going to be a coach today, and then go talk to these women and have no idea what they're going through because I haven't done it myself. I have. And so just them being able to relate to me and me being completely open and honest. And I use this thing about freedom is transparency is freedom. Like the more you try to hide something of your past, something you're ashamed of, the more it's going to follow you and be that gremlin, as you called it, for the rest of your life. But when you can walk into a room and be quite okay with saying, yeah, I was married to a drug dealer, or yeah, I had a kid at 17, or yeah, I did this, or yeah, all those things that you kind of say, and then you hush that part of the sentence because you don't want to, what would my daughter's friends think? That was me at one point. Once I let it all out, OMG, all these people come out of the woodwork saying, I can't believe you said that so openly. And then they tell me their stories, and it's like the first time they'd ever told anybody this, and it was because I was so open about it. I'm like, you know what? I have no fear or worries about the things that I used to carry as baggage. Like, yeah, that's me. You don't like it, cool, but there's other people who are going to resonate with what I'm saying, and those are the people I want to be friends with, or, I don't really care that you think it's wrong for me to speak of these things in public because somebody needs to hear it.
100%. God, yeah. I wish more people would just be their authentic self. People walk out into life and they wear that mask on their face because they're trying to project a different image to people. Mm-hmm. Man, the more that they just embrace themselves, the better life just gets.
It does. It's so freeing to not be caught between your real life and the fake life you portray. Hey, this is me. When I do my live videos in my group, I'm at the park, drip wet, bedhead. I'm not the one who gets all made up because I'm going to be on camera. It's, hey, this is me. But you know what? All the women watching me look just like me. And so they're like, well, she's okay doing it. And then that gives them a little more motivation or inspiration. It's like, okay, well, maybe it's okay that I do that too. Whereas before they might be thinking, oh, I can't do that because what will people think? Who cares what people think?
Well, and here's the funny thing is people don't give a shit about you. They don't. Right? People are so hung up that they've got to impress and please. And the truth of the matter, people don't think about you. We assume people are thinking about us, but they really, as soon as you walk away from, they have no thoughts of you whatsoever. Everybody's so focused on themselves, right?
Yep.
So
you're a passing thought. Once you're past, you're gone.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, it's about delivering your message, being authentic, and being real as hell.
Exactly.
So you've mentioned a couple of these groups. Well, tell me a little bit about these groups that you're speaking to, that you're running.
So I have my Girl Bosses Rock Tribe. It's a private group that, women can join. And I do scrutinize the join request. There's questions. If they don't answer them, they don't get in because I want it to be very authentic and not people coming in for the wrong reasons. Plus the women in the group feel a little more comfortable with sharing things or asking questions.
Can people tell before they go into the group that it's meant for the ladies that are struggling to find the girl boss?
Sort of. When you find a group, you have a description of what the group is about to see if you want to join it. There's a pretty good description on it that explains what it's all about. And so far I haven't had any issues. Sometimes I'll get a request, but I think they just join it because it's like a, hey, other people you might know in your feed kind of thing. And then when the thing pops up with the questions, they're like, okay, this isn't for me. But yeah, I'm very open, because I want people to understand what it's about because it correlates with the blog and the content that I post there. And then the whole community of helping these women learn how to blog or learn how to start businesses or learning how to take what they know and have always thought of as just some hobby or, it's just this thing I do. Hey, you could totally make that your business and provide for yourself and get out of this cycle of poverty that you're in and actually be proud of yourself and have your children be proud of you too. But the thought just has never occurred to them that they could even do those things. And so sometimes I'll have these conversations. To me, it's like, well, yeah, you can do that. How do you not know that? But then I'm like, well, not everybody lives on the internet like I do. And I'll be honest, I'm addicted to the internet, but my feed is filled with completely positive things. You know, the drama that most people talk about the internet comes from themselves, not the internet.
100%. You are so right on that.
Delete your family, delete those drama friends. I don't delete them. I unfollow them because I still want them to see what I'm putting out, hoping it'll rub off on them.
Right.
But everything in my feed is, you know, positive. It's about business and women and, you know, for positivity quotes and things like that, because that's what I want to feed my mind. And so that's another thing that I'm trying to teach women, you know, that all this other stuff that you're doing is actually what's molding you to be where you're at right now. So let's mold it in a different direction. And so giving them the steps to do that.
No, that's beautiful. And just on that point, well, I don't think a lot of people really understand how the social media thing works, but whatever search term you put out there into the stratosphere or whatever you comment on or whatever else, your feed eventually turns right into that.
Yes.
You know, so if you comment on something political, your whole feed will turn to political because of the algorithm and everything behind Facebook. So if you're commenting on negative input or negative things, that's immediately what your feeds will fill with.
Yeah. And, you know, that whole commenting on stuff, that's one of the things I preach. It's like, you know, you meet these people and they're just so negative and they're always complaining like about the president or about this and that. And I was on this post the other day and blah, blah, blah. And I told them, I'm like, you know, you do have the choice not to comment. Like, it's a thing on your computer. You don't know these people. Why are you engaging in it when you know what the outcome's going to be?
Right.
You know, choose to comment on something that's going to produce a positive cycle after the fact. But when you just continually participate in those negative things, then no wonder you're just like the most miserable person and nobody wants to be around you at the end of the day, you know?
Right. You know, so with your programs, I mean, you're talking about you're getting ready to launch like this online course and things along those lines. Does it take somebody through, you know, how do you deal with your own shit? Pardon my French. You know, how do you deal with your own stuff and turn that into the story you're teaching others? Is that...
Yeah. Well, so my courses are very specific about getting started on the blog and how to do the Pinterest thing, and I'm adding more and more about the whole internet marketing and business stuff. So the courses are really designed around that, but the community interactions, like when I do my live events and I'm working on some challenges, you know, where you create a 5-day challenge or whatever, and those are centered around basically how to be a girl boss is how I say it, like. A girl boss handles her business. A girl boss does this. A girl boss does that. And so, you know, the process of getting yourself out of that cycle and making a new path, those are the things we talk about during our live, like what we're doing now, you know, a live kind of event or just my random live feeds that I'll pop on. And, you know, I don't do business when I do my live feeds. It's all about the lifestyle. And so that empowerment stuff comes through that, whereas the business parts of it come through the courses. Nice. And that's where the membership site is coming into play, where it's going to be a combination of all of that. And so there'll be some like online coaching, group coaching in the membership site, both for business stuff, but also for the girl boss, you know, not business, but the lifestyle piece to it.
Right. Now, will you build out these membership sites for other people?
Oh, gosh, I just don't have enough time. See, I have ADD on a massive scale. Like, I'm surprised I'm still focused on you right now because, you know, I'm like rock shiny thing. Ooh, look, there's a bird.
Well, we don't call it ADD. We call it ADDOS. It's attention deficit. Oh, look, squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. That is me. Everyone who's met me and knows me is like, oh, yeah, that's her. And so I get myself caught up in so many things myself that I have been asked to build websites and do this and that for other people. And I'm like, I would love to do it, but I simply just don't have the time. That's why I teach people how to do it. So one of my courses is teaching them how to start a blog, like literally walking through the steps. So I don't have to do it for you because that's one of my things. I know, you know, for businesses, you want to contract out work, but for an individual person, I truly feel, you will get the most out of it when you learn how to do it yourself, because then you'll be proud of yourself. And that's part of what's missing from a lot of my target demographic. They're not proud of themselves for anything. So every little thing that I can teach them to do on their own is going to build their confidence and self-esteem. And, then they're going to, one little thing you accomplish, then the next one you make it bigger. And then the next one is even bigger. And before you know it, you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe I was ever that other person, Right. So,
isn't it amazing, how many people have gone through life and have never had anybody ever look at them and say, you know what, I'm just proud of you.
mm-hmm.
Right? I'm just amazed at how far you've come in life, and I really enjoy your journey. It's always surprised me because, growing up as a kid, my parents were always, hey, I'm proud of you, well done, so it's a shock to me when you sit across from somebody and you say something like, hey, I'm just proud of what you've done, and you can watch them, their whole body almost tenses because it's something they've never heard of,
mm-hmm.
Or heard from, So how do you how are you getting through to these ladies that have gone through these life experiences and really getting them to transition to maybe the thought processes of I'm not good enough to I got this?
Honestly, most of that comes through when I go on live, I'll just be at the park with the dogs and I'll pop in. I don't have a set schedule for when I go live. But it is all about me being real and letting out all the dirty secrets, all the stuff, like not trying to hide behind like I'm this super successful businesswoman, and the more of that they see, the more it relates, because, this live event, I might be talking about my 4 ex-husbands, the last one might have been about getting knocked up at 17 or, all those Jerry Springer things that people are embarrassed about that they think are limiting, or the family history. Well, this is just how it is in my family. That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, most of my family is, living still in trailer park country, and I love them to death, but in and out of jail, all these things, I should have been doing that too, but I made the choice. And so by me sharing that, I'm not just talking to them, I'm showing them how I did it. And so I think that piece is really instrumental in getting through to them, because, they have to be able to relate to you that, I don't understand how I could possibly do it. And then when I show them exactly what I did, they're like, well, I guess if she did it, then it must be possible.
It's crazy because a lot of people, I'm like, just find your badass and go for it. They're like, but how, right?
But how?
Right? So walk through that how, because you said once I show it to them, what is it you're showing them? Because I think a lot of people, they want that tactical, go ahead.
Well, it really depends on what it is, what it is that they're striving for, what it is they're trying to overcome. I have so many of them that I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. So I relate it to whatever their specific situation is. It's not like this is how I do it for everybody kind of answer. I mean, I help them figure out what it is they are good at, because most of them are like, I don't know how to do anything. And then I'll just get them talking in general, or I'll pick up on little things that they talk about that I'm like, oh, so tell me more about that. And then you suddenly find their sweet spot where they're like, they go from this hold up person to, hey, yeah, I do this and that, but it's just a thing I do. And so that gives me the doorway to kind of show them, well, this is how, if it's talking about turning it into a business, this is exactly what you need to do. And then I kind of coach them through, the steps they need to take. You don't have to go to business. I'm a very big opponent of college. I have a degree, but I think it's the most overrated and overpriced thing that was ever developed, unless you want to be like a doctor. I kind of want my doctor to have gone to school.
But unless you be a doctor and lawyer, man, all you're
right.
doing is creating a crap ton of debt with no value.
Exactly. All this stuff we're doing right now, building these blogs and websites and learning code, I've learned every bit of that from just sitting at my computer, and I've learned it in a less amount of time than had I gone to a 4-year degree.
Well, so, and what you would have learned in that 4-year degree wouldn't be the tactics to action.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and I learned a lot of that actually from my job working with veteran employment. We had all these vets with degrees but no job experience, and not even just veterans, but just general people who just graduated college, 18, 20-year-olds, whatever. And that was a missing piece. And it's like, okay, well, that's great that you learned how to do it by the book, but what about the real world? And so anything that's by the book, seriously, there's a YouTube video or a Wikipedia article about just literally anything. YouTube. You can learn anything you could probably learn how to do open heart surgery. I mean, I don't want my doctor to have learned open heart surgery, just saying, but I'm sure there's a video out there for that. So if people would get on the internet and use it for a more productive reason than what they're using it for now, they could open up so many opportunities for themselves. And so that's what I basically show them. But it's always related exactly to what their particular obstacle or the thing that's holding them back is. Well,
and I love that it's using your story to find your next success, as part of your overall journey and what you're doing. And I think a lot of people are playing this game of, well, whatever I have is just this hobby, like you talked about. It's just this thing, and it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to take that and turn that into, well, let's make some money with that. Let's look at you take that small passion of yours and turn it into a big ass passion and allow you to support not only yourself but your family and start living a better life and doing the things you want and have some freaking fun along the way.
Exactly. And the funny thing though, like with a hobby or something, you don't think about it in terms of that thing that, because, okay, let's say I'm a person that knits or crochets. Well, I probably go on the internet and look up patterns, or I go to here to learn this and that, and I'm going to these websites, which people don't understand. Blog is the same thing as just a website with articles. But those places you're going to learn all this stuff, somebody wrote those and is making a business out of it. That thought doesn't occur to people with whatever it is that they're doing, that they too can turn it into the business like the person whose site they are currently on. And so It's like, stop making money for other people and start doing it for yourself. I mean, whatever it is you're looking up on the internet, somebody's making money off of it.
That's exactly the fact. What about people that they're like, I suck at writing. I'm just not good at it. I'm a former Marine. I know my grammar is, and people ding me all the time on my memes and everything else. They're like, Donnie, you really need somebody to edit your stuff before it goes out. And I'm like, it's just part of my story. And they're like, yeah, but it's maybe not the story you want to tell. Like, all right, I get it, right? But
well, there's a lot of tools, if you are doing the, writing, like with a blog or something like that. But you know what? You don't have to write on YouTube. Videos are the thing now. If you're more of a doer than a writer, all those put how to and then anything after that. There's a video for it. How to fix your sink, how to fix your car, how to do this.
But now I can't write and I'm ugly. Now what?
Well, if you're ugly, then you would be attracting all those other ugly people out there who are going to resonate with you. And that is who not everyone's meant to be your audience or your customer. You need to target who is most like you that you can have an impact on.
And I love that. I tell people all the time, just be you. The world will adjust, right? And the more authentic and real that you are, the more your tribe of people are going to show up.
Exactly.
In an interview I did earlier, they were asking me, they're like, Donnie, how do people handle sometimes your brushness, your brashness, your blunt kind of questioning style from time to time, because you obviously live your passion regularly. And I'm like, I don't care.
Right?
You either get me or you don't. And
the people that you want to get you are going to get you.
Absolutely. And they're going to step forward to embrace whatever you do. And it goes back to what we've been talking about, this whole just be authentic.
Just be you, because eventually you will not be able to hold up that facade that you're this other person. And people who are trying to pretend that you know all about this military stuff when you're not. Military people are going to see right through that.
Right.
Or pretending, like for me, pretending that I've gone through all these struggles. The people who've gone through the struggles can see right through someone who hasn't. And so the more authentic and open you are, you're right. You're going to attract. You are not special. There are more people exactly like you out there searching for exactly what you're trying to give out.
But LeeAnn, our entire life, somebody has told us we're unique, we're special, we're blah, 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 shut the hell up.
Blah, 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 exactly. I mean, yeah, okay, we're special, we're unique, find your uniqueness and go, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but the bottom line is you're not special in that sense, because And it was proven to me, like, I've gone through all these things. What was it for? But when I get these emails and when I get these Facebook messages from people who've seen my, my testimony or whatever you want to call it from this event or that event, and then they confide in me for the first time they've ever told anyone about this secret or whatever, that's an impact. I mean, and that's who I want to follow me, because
right.
It's not all these other people who have this or that and the other to say about what I'm doing, because, well, how's that working out for them? They probably have their own drama that they're dealing with, and they're using, making fun of me or pointing out my flaws just to compensate for their own misgivings or shortfalls.
Yeah. And it just made me think of there's a great book called Same Kind of Different as Me. It's about a homeless guy up in Fort Worth, Texas, and it's a great, great touching story. But the only point of that is it's just a great thought process. It's the same kind of different as me, right? It's just about being authentic and let everybody show up. So, all right, we're getting close to the end of this, and I want to make sure we talk about how people find your courses, how they find your groups. This is your chance to shamelessly tell us all this beautiful stuff you're creating. Self-promote, all that fun stuff.
Well, I've made it super, super easy. If you go to Google and type in Girl Bosses Rock, I am going to come up all over the place. And so whatever social media you're on, the handle is Girl Bosses Rock. Once the membership site is launched, it'll be in the URL for that as well. But my website is just girlbossesrock.com. That's my blog. And then in the blog, it leads to my academy, which is on a different platform. But yeah, I mean, just type in the Girl Bosses Rock and there I'll be. I'm on YouTube, but because YouTube gives you this super long thing for your name until you reach 100 subscribers. Well, I've passed that, but I'm just too lazy to go back in and change it. So
all right, stop.
Type it in.
Before today is out, go take care of that. Please, oh Pete.
Well, it's not that I'm lazy. That squirrel. Yeah, I'll be on my way to do it, and then,
Well, good. You just got a direct order from Donnie to go freaking take care of that. Jeez.
But you can totally just type in Girl Bosses Rock in YouTube, and I'm the first one that comes up. So.
Okay, awesome. That's beautiful. I love what you're doing. I love the arena you're in, because not a lot. I mean, there's people that are focused in an arena, but they're not focused in the space you're in. So I love that. It's a beautiful thing. So if you were going to give somebody just worldly advice, of how to embrace life, go on their journey, and continue to being the badasses that they are, and go for it, what would you tell them?
I would tell him to be like Nike and to be like Dory. Just keep swimming, just go for it. Yeah.
I love it.
Just do it. But most importantly, find your tribe. Yeah, I mean, it's so much easier to embark on that kind of journey when you have a tribe of other people that are taking that same journey with you. And so, what is it? Who you run with is who you become. And so if where you are right now is not where you want to be, you need to find a new tribe for sure. But you really need to seek out others who are truly passionate about where you want to go in life. And anyone who tells you that's never going to work or, whatever, then prove them wrong, because they don't define your value. You truly are the reason you are where you're at, and you are the only one that can get in your way of getting where you want to be. So get out of your way. Just do it.
Absolutely. Love it. And just keep swimming. That's beautiful.
Just keep swimming. And that's because, obstacles are going to come. Just keep swimming.
That's awesome. LeeAnn, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thanks for letting me pick on you a little bit. Love everything you do. Keep rocking it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Wow, what a great episode today with LeeAnn. Guys, do me a favor. Please comment, like, and share. Give me your opinion in this episode, and let everybody know about this. I really appreciate it.